Yo, what's up guys, Sven here, and today I present to you the shell v2. This base is a second variant of the original shell. It's not only stronger and better, but it also features better inner peak downs, better outer peak downs, more storage room, multi-TC making it pretty much impossible to be griefed, and a lot more. And before we jump into the build, I'm gonna give you guys a tour of the base. Enjoy. Yeah, and also I will be linking timestamps of particular parts in the video. These will be in the description. If you want to skip to, for example, the build, just follow the description where there will be a timestamp. Alright, so before we jump into how to build this base, let's talk about the upkeep and the building costs. Now, I have to say I'm quite sorry, but I don't have the exact building costs. This is because the plugin for it isn't entirely working yet on my own server, so sorry for that. Now, considering that the base can be built in multiple stages and can be upgraded along the way, I don't think it's that big of a deal. At least not for me when I'm building this base in an actual wipe. So for upkeep, the upkeep in the main TC, which is the one in the center honeycombed 3x3, is about 15,000 metal. I would say that's a max when you have all garage doors placed and all armored doors, etc. There's 0 stone and 0 wood in the upkeep as usual. I like to make the bases always fully metal, and when it comes to high qual, it's about 300 to 400 for the main TC. This again depends really on what you upgrade, and you can do this again along the way. Now for the outside TC, which is 4 in total, the upkeep is pretty much the same on all of them. We're talking here about 4 to 5k metal a day and about 0 to 10 high qual. The 10 high qual is usually when you have some armored doors. Since this base is multi-TC'd, the upkeep can be brought up to about 2+ days if done correctly, and that is pretty insane and very useful actually, especially when you're doing a full wipe for just a weekend and you just basically only have to do the initial farming, throw the TCs full and have them up for about 2 days. And then maybe you're gonna have to add 1 more day in case you're doing a weekend wipe. Anyways, for the building costs, again, I don't really have laid out how much wood and stone the base costs, but since you can build it up in stages, I would say the wood in this case is not that much important. Now, the stone really depends on what you upgrade straight away to metal or stone. Anyways, when you would upgrade everything straight away to metal and high quality metal, it would cost you about 46 to 47,000 metal for the main 3x3 area and about 15 to 16,000 metal for the side multi-TCs. Keep in mind that there's 4 of them. This would basically make the total metal cost about 100,000 metal. Now again, for the armored, it really depends on what you upgrade. But in my case, in my example, if you have everything armored that I have, it will cost you 1,543 armored in total to upgrade everything to armored. Alright, so that's the build costs and upkeep. Let's now jump into showing you guys how to actually build this base. Alright, so first things first, you're for sure going to want to find a flat area. Now, we don't have to find a flat area that's specifically perfectly flat. We just need to find something that's kind of ish flat. We're not going to be making any types of bunkers, or we're not going to have 2 higher foundations. So it doesn't really matter, although you kind of want to make sure it's on a flat area, because that will make the build easier. Now, of the flat area, we're going to start by building a basic 3x3 in the middle. And I'm saying basic, but there's one little variation to this basic 3x3 that you have to do, which is put a triangle on this side and a triangle on this side. This one isn't really required, but I would recommend to do it. So I have the 3x3 here with the triangles on each side, and I like to have my door on this side. It does not matter if you use a double door frame or a single, but considering we're going to be building a 8-man base, I would use a double door frame. You're going to put a double door frame here. You're going to seal this off all the way through like this. And what we will do is put a way up right here. We're going to put a TC obviously as well. This TC placement is temporarily. We're going to be moving the TC to the 3rd floor later on. For now, just so we have one, put it right here. Here, I would put furnaces, but you could leave a wall here. As I said, this one is not necessarily required. It's just nice to have it. And then you wall off the rest. Now, for this part, since this is your way up, you want to have a door frame here. And want to wall that off right here. I'm going to be using garage doors, but you're probably going to have wooden doors when you're building this in the beginning of the wipe. Like that. That's your basic starter for this base. A 3x3 with 2 little triangles on the side, with this one not being entirely required to do. It's up to you if you'd want that one. Alright, so next thing. What you're going to want to do now is put the 2nd floor up. Just so you have more space and you have options in terms of where you put your loot. So we built all the way around. We put another way up right here. And
we wall or put a ceiling on top of that. It's very important that you don't build up another floor here, and you'll see why in a second. If this one is hard to place, you want to put a triangle and then place it. But there you go. Seal that off with a garage door. We have 2 floors right now. Same base, just 2 floors. So at this point, the most important thing you want to have to consider is how many people are you playing with and how high do you want your internal root base 3x3 to be. If you're playing with a lot of people, I would recommend to build this entire design with 1 extra floor up. But in my case, I'm going to be building the main area on the 3rd floor. You could also do it on the 4th floor. If you're doing that, makes sense, but you'll probably figure out yourself. Just build everything 1 higher. Alright, so next thing we're going to do now is put the multi-TCs up. I have already mentioned this in earlier videos, but I think it's important to distinct the difference between external TCs and multi-TCs, so to say. I like to refer to external TCs as the one that you use to build off privilege. And I'd like to use the word multi-TC when it's an actual part of your base. In this case, we have a multi-TC base, and we're having a base built with 4 external, or so to say, multi-TC placed. So we're going to focus on that now. It's very important you do that at this point because of the way the wall stacking / multi-TC is done. So what you want to do is put both 2 triangles like this on each side. Could also put the 3rd one if you like, just to keep it, but very important is that you do not place the one in the middle right here. So basically this is how it will look from the top. On each side, 3 triangles sticking out. That's your way up. Actually, that's your way up, and that one. And that's basically it. So, to build out the multi-TCs, it's extremely important you do this when you know you have the right materials, because as soon as people see that you're building a multi-TC 3x3, specifically this one, they're gonna want to counter that, and they're gonna want to try to fuck that up. So, make sure you have the right and the good amount of materials to do this. I'm gonna be turning off my B grade, because I'm going to have to place a lot of twig. Also, I'm going to be repeating the same step on all 4 sides, although I'm only going to show you how to do 1 side. You basically, whatever follows right now, you're going to have to do on each side. Alright, so with B grade off, you're going to put a triangle right here, and then a square, and you're going to build exactly 9 squares out. So this is the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, sixth one, seventh one, eighth one, ninth one. With the 9th one, you're going to keep that one, and you're going to remove everything else that you just placed. Even the one in here. You're gonna go back to that original square, and you're gonna build back with all 3. All the way until you get to this point. At this point, you place a square and another one next to it. Now, these squares, upgrade them to stone or metal if you can. They're gonna be metal in the end, so that's why I made mine metal. Do not upgrade that one, very important. Now you repeat this step for each side. So we're gonna end up with 2 triangles like this. You're gonna see we can put walls here and here. It's all blue. So we're repeating that for all 4 sides. We're gonna have 2 squares like this on each side. And as you see, they are disconnected. They do not have a TC. Now it's very important actually that you start building the external TCs, because anyone could literally connect this, build out and take over, and your base will basically be messed up. Especially in the beginning of the wipe. Now for this part, we're going to use almost the same trick that we used for the the original shell 3x3. We're going to have to connect 2 triangles here and here. And then we build 2 squares. Not like that, but like that. So it's simple. Triangles, square. So triangles, square. Triangles, square. Triangles, square. Like that. So just to make sure that you don't get griefed at this point, is we have to decide 2 things. Or actually, we have to decide 1 thing and do another thing. We're gonna have to decide where do we want our front door. Now, your entrance of the door here, of the tree, which is gonna be right here. Put a frame there just to show you guys. So the front door is not really sufficient to have here. I would preferably have it either here, on this side, or on this side. And if you only want 1 front door, I would definitely put it somewhere at that one or that one. So for the front door, we're basically just going to build out like that and like that. And we're going to be doing the same on the other side. You want to have 2 front doors. In my opinion, it's very important and very useful to have 2 front doors. So building out 2 front doors, you would say, okay, start building the door. I would not recommend that. I would recommend to connect all 4 parts to a TC first. So in this case, I'm going to have to repeat the same step twice. 1 time and basically 2 times for the front door and 2 times for these sides. I'm going to show each side once. So 1 time the front door part, repeat it there. And 1 time the side part and repeat it on the other side. So make sure you repeat that when you're building. So you build out 1, 2, 3, and as you can notice, we can still not place it. 4, we can place it here at the end, pretty much. Now, how you want to secure your external TCs is totally up to you. For the sake of this video, I'm basically going to keep this super simple and put a little triangle like this with a TC inside that we will be sealing off with a glass window. Now, it is extremely, extremely important that this TC right there is extremely secure, or it's a lot of stuff to raid. Because raiders could technically raid 1 TC from you and let it decay, and you're basically going to be fucked. Or at least a big part of your base is going to decay. Everything that's going to be leaning on those foundations is going to decay. So everything except your original honeycomb 3x3. So it's important that you secure the external TCs. This is the part for the door. We repeat that on the other side right there. And now for the actual inner part, what I like to do is put like this and then build out 4 again. You can see we can still not put the TC here, so we build 1 more out and then we put the TC in there. So repeat that. There we go. There we have our multi-TCs connected. Now, you saw me place a TC in here on the bottom floor temporarily, and I kind of forgot, but you should move that TC down there to another place if you want to have it in another place. Because if I destroy the TC right now, one of these will take over. So it's not very safe to do that. Put the TC down there, switch it, and then build the multi-TCs out like we did. Okay, so for continuing the 3rd floor, something that we should do at this point is actually wall off the front door first, just so it's more doors to raid the base. Let's do that. Pathway here and seal it off with the roof like that. Now, for continuing the 3rd floor, I want to build up at least these inner triangles, put a roof on top, do it on the same side here, exactly the same, like this. The 3rd floor is going to have a triangle basically on each side. 1 with the door pot under, 1 completely just honeycomb, and the other 2 for the ways up and down. We're going to want to have to put a way up and down here. I'm going to leave that open, and we're going to want to put a wall here and here. Now, way up right here, we can already build that. There we go. Put a frame in there. Okay, so before we close off the other 2 triangles, I want to actually use a trick that's originally discovered by a guy called Fred the Frog. It's recently been published by Evil Worst, and the trick goes as following. It allows you to put a 2-3 workbench in a triangle while still putting the walls. In my case, I'm going to want to put it at this side. You could also put it on that side. And I'm going to be putting the garage door first, because there is a chance that you cannot place the garage door anymore after. As we all know what can happen with tier 3s. Now, it's extremely important to practice this on a live server. And if you want to be on the safe side, place it a bit towards you. As long as you're not going over that metal line, it shouldn't stick out of the garage door. Now, in this case, I'm going to place it exactly like this. And we're putting a wall on this side, then we rotate it, and we're putting a wall on that side. The roof on top, there we go. I like to have furnace access on my 3rd floor. So in this case, I'm going to be putting 3 furnaces right here. It's nice to do the high coal-in or silver when you really need it, just in case. And put that one facing outwards. Of course, there's going to be a metal embrasure here, so raiders could not go through cheaper. And this garage door has to be closed when they're offline, of course. But basically, that's it. Then we just seal off the 3rd floor with roofs. And we seal off the way up once again. I'm going to be putting a roof there temporarily. Like this. There we go. So that's your 3x3 in its most basic form. Do you want to log out at this point? No. What do you want to prioritize right now? farming. Why? Because your base is actually quite weak when it comes to the external TCs. Everyone sees that you have a multi-TC 3x3 and you're gonna want to have to strengthen this up as much and as fast as you can. So once you start putting the actual multi-TCs down, I would really recommend that you have enough time and also enough resources to build this. Now, I'm going to prioritize whatever you would prioritize in a wipe first. So at this point, I'm going to be focusing on putting the outside walls up so we can start building the inner peak soon. Also, we're going to have this honeycombed at some point, but it's not a prioritization at the beginning just yet. So right now, I'm going to start putting the front door right here. And I'm going to basically wall off entirely one time. Right here, we're going to have to put a wall like that. And there shouldn't be walls there. Sorry about that. We're going to have to put the shop fronts on those double door frames. And these walls gone as well. Right. So once you got this, you probably have metal doors. In my case, I'm going to be putting armored doors. Okay, so for replacing the shop front, I want to recommend to put the kind of bucket on the inside again. Remember, it will allow you to jump on it like this, and you can get a little bit better angles to see if you're getting door camped. Like that and like that. Door here. You're going to want to consider right now if you want your door access on the left or the right side. In this case, I'm going to be putting the left and put a wall on these. I'm going to do the same on the other side, but mirrored. So one on the left and walls here. Do you want drop boxes? Probably. So I would recommend to put 2 triangles right here and to put half walls the following way. Now, these boxes can be hard to place. You should be able to maybe put 3 boxes, 1 vertical like that and 2 horizontal. Be my guest at how you want to do this. But I would do this before you seal this off completely. So place the boxes there and then put this wall and the roof on top. We're going to want to do the same on the other side. So let's just repeat that. Okay, so both sides are done now with the doors. Basically, that's all done. We want to fill that up with a half wall and also on the other side. Then after this, you want to have to build another layer up. Remember, you can all do this in stone. I would do it like this. Oh, that half wall needs to be there. We can actually make that a full wall. Actually, I'm stupid. Half wall here. Triangles on top. Half walls on top. So one more time. Triangles on top. And walk it off with half walls. There you go. Too high. So in this case, we're going to have to put another layer up. Just to make it even. After this, it's kind of what you want to do. You could honeycomb the 3x3. Just for example purposes, I'm going to be doing that real quick. We're basically going to want to put honeycomb all the way around on each side like this. Also, feel free to put triangles and close them off as well. That's totally fine. Just make sure that you clip them to the inside. Very important. Alright, so at this point, we're gonna want to build the inner peak downs. Now, I'm not really a fan of putting them and then putting the walls, because there is a chance that you cannot put these walls. So we're gonna first put another layer on top. Then we're gonna put the ceilings or roofs that I know for sure that I want. So like this one here, like this one here. And these are gonna be the bedrooms. So you're gonna have 2 in each corner, 8 in total. Perfect amount. Team limit in Rust. Perfect amount of people. I like to play with maximum. So yeah, there you go. You're gonna have this right now. Right, so now the real kind of more complicated stuff is gonna happen. When I'm building multi-TC 9 layers out with the small gap like this, it's like a multi-TC style of building, I would say. I like to use a kind of reminder that I always clip stuff to the right side. So in this case, I'm gonna put a square and I'm gonna clip it to the right part. I'm gonna do the same here. Clip it to the right part. You could also say I'm gonna mirror it So clip everything to that and everything to that and have those two not. But in my experience, that could fuck up the end product, so to say, when you want to close this whole thing off. I just like to do it like this. So for the peak downs, we want to put triangles out of the original 3x3 like this. You're going to have something like this. And for the final part of the peak downs, this is actually a very simple part. We basically want to put a triangle here and here. Here and here. Here and here. And here. And here. Here you go. And then for the final part, we're putting triangles like this and like that. Are these peak downs perfect? In my opinion, they're pretty nasty. Some people like them, some don't. But for me, most importantly, is two things. Do you have a very good advantage over raiders that are raiding your base? Yes, you do, because you can peek from any angle. Can your gun fall through these things? It cannot. Can they ladder up? No, they can't. Can you fall through? No, you can't. In my opinion, something near towards perfect peak downs. Almost, I would say. At this point, it is safe to lay out your next way up. So go ahead and do that. Just to make it easier for you guys to understand where the way up will be. And now the harder part is going to come, where we're going to wall or like seal this thing off into a cube with a roof. Alright, so 8 bedrooms in total, 2 in each corner. Now we already put 2 frames, as you can see right here. And I'm a big fan of having windows, because windows, you are able to pick windows up. And shop fronts you aren't. So you can make a lot of place with this. You can defend your base a lot better. In my case, I'm going to put windows in each corner like that, in total 8. And fill it up with the rest of the frames. Now we're going to build the roof. And the easiest way to start is by building up roofs on your bedrooms. Building multi-TC bases and building bases that are like the shell. The easiest way to do the trick is by starting to build on the outside. Always start building on the outside, back towards the inside. You would say this is a pretty weird shape to fill in, but it is actually possible to fill this thing in. You're gonna have gaps, but that's because of the multi-TC thing. But it is totally fill-upable, so to say. So what we will do is we will put... As you can see, there's triangles down there for the peak downs, but we are gonna fill it up with squares. I'm gonna do that on each side. And what part we want to do at the final end is this weird shape over here. I call it a house corner because it looks like a house, kind of. A bit messed up house, or a bit fat house, so to say. And then for the rest of the base, it's important that you clip everything to the center part. So, not to that part. I don't even think you can do it. Oh, maybe you can. You can, but you want to clip it to this wall right here. That's part of the center and not the outside roof right here as that one. That's not good. There's supposed to be a gap here. Cannot place that one, but that's fine. We can fix that in a second. Right, so how you do the center here is also, again, entirely up to yourself. But I would like to put a wall here. Wall here. Frames on these corners. You don't have to put them there, but it's doable. And what you can do is put another floor in there. Now, what allows you to do in these triangles is put turrets, for example. I like to do that. And the reason that I like to put walls here is just so it's the same on each side. And it's not necessarily so it looks perfect, but more that raiders don't instantly know what is your way down. So, because they all look the same, basically. They all have garage doors and they all have the same kind of thing. Or your way up, basically. Any of these could become your way up, by the way. I think it's nice to mirror it, but you could always... wait, did I do something wrong? Oh no, that's the way down. This will be the way up. Just have it mirror. So for the rest, we clip it again to the middle, creating a gap on the outside. Right here as well. Then we fill up this whole thing with squares. Now the only thing that's left is like the crooked house shape. And as you can see, I just accidentally walled off the way up. On a real wipe, you would probably not do that because you're probably gonna have to go down and up from your base. In this case, I would like to clip it on the right again, the square. Put the triangle there and a triangle attached to the square. Like that. Clip. And attach. So, is your peak down floor entirely secured? No. Now, we're gonna end up securing it, but at this point we can't yet, unfortunately. So make sure you tell your teammates that the peak down floor isn't secured yet. Just to secure the way down kind of doesn't really matter at this point, but to make you guys understand. Right, so since we are gonna have our shooting floor on this floor, it's important that you do not build the way up here yet with full walls. The reason why is because of the roof later on, and it won't connect. So to build the shooting floor, again, you can do the peak downs the way you want, but I'd like to do it the following way. Put them like that. Same on this side. And on the side right here, also the same. Side right here, also the same. I will show you guys a view from top down in a sec. For these, since you cannot put a wall on... Wait, actually, let me check. I don't think you can place a door frame here. No, you can't. So it's important that you clip the triangle to the left, in this case, every time. In the center. So, like this. There you go. That's your basic shooting floor. Could do it differently if you want. I like to have it like this. To build basically the outside, what I like to do is put frames just so the doors have enough stability to be placeable. So let's do those frames first. Let's try to put the windows. See how far we get. Actually, in this case, all the windows are perfectly fine to be placed. There you go. Windows all around. Now, single doors, obviously, on each... Clip to each left side. Left roof or ceiling. And there you go. That's the basic. Now the next part is going to be, I would say, relatively complicated on how to do this properly. So stay tuned and take good care in what's happening here. So once again, the trick and the main trick that I use to build back in the shell way, so to say, is by filling up the actual shooting floor parts, like the outside first. So that's what we will do. Basically everywhere there is a single door, I will put stuff. Alright, so to keep stuff extremely simple, I remember I said that you should try and build out from the outside back towards the inside. That's mostly a thing to do when you're trying to practice or trying to come up with new designs. That's how I figure out how to close it off. Since I already know how to close it off, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to show you guys the most convenient way to do it. So one fact that you should know, and that you should always know in this case, with building this base, is that the inside of the roof is going to have a line of squares. So it's either going to be like this or like that. And I like to do it horizontal from how I'm looking now, just because that is the way up, so we can kind of connect it. One other thing that you should know is that you can never place those two full walls right here, right there, or right there. Basically, do not place anything that I haven't placed at this point. And we are safe to put frames here, and here. Two walls here, because I'm going to be wanting to put the way up right here. The reason I put a frame there is because it's going to continue into another pathway. That's why I like to use a ladder hatch as well. So this is kind of the center core, and you can close that with two squares. This is what you should have, and this is what you should start building from. So the whole center core, or aka the part that's connected to the main inside tree battery, is only going to be this, plus a layer of triangles attached to the side where there are squares under. Like this. That's all we're going to connect to the main part. The rest of the stuff is all going to be connected to the 4 external outside TCs. Okay, so how do you start with this? You put a door frame here, double door frame here, double door frame here, and double door frame here. And make sure those double door frames are attached to the right side, aka the outside TCs, not the main inside one. And then we're going to want to put or build back with squares on this side. And we're going to want to build back with squares on this side. There we go. That's how it should look from now. Now in this case, we're going to have to put squares here as well. And here as well. And we're going to build back the rest with triangles like that. Make sure you again attach it to the outside TCs. So this is what you should have. Now the only thing we have to worry about is filling up each square. Alright, so what we can do here is put a square here. Put a square here. Triangle here, triangle here, to keep this stuff simple. And then from the inside, we're gonna have to connect a square to the right again. And then 2 triangles here, or fill this thing up all the way. Put a square here, and once again connect it to the right side. You cannot put that now, but we should be able to. So to fill up this last gap, triangle and a square gap, we're gonna have to put door frame right here, door frame right there. Sorry if I'm rotating a lot, but basically you're gonna have to go to each corner where you have this gap. And from the inside, we're gonna have to put a double door frame connected to this triangle right there and the right one on there. So in this case, we're gonna have to put it right there and right there. These triangles. Now in this case, I actually do realize I connected stuff to the left instead of to the right, and that's because of stability. So make sure you keep that in mind. It does not really matter when you're putting the roof up. Although, if you're building multi-TC bases that kind of have a lot of layers up, it's very important because it will allow you to maintain your stability and not fuck anything up on the end, because sometimes you're gonna end up with very weird stuff. In this case, you could do it like this. You could also keep it the same. I like to do it like this actually, if it allows me on the last part here. So let's figure it out if it allows us. Connect it to the right. Right, so after closing up the gaps, you should end up with 4 little corners like this. And you would say, okay, just connect it. But since the stability is so low at this point, you should actually fix that. And you can fix that by doing it the following way. So when you go down 1 floor from your shooting floor, down here, you're gonna have to increase the stability. So put the door frames here in all the 8 triangles going towards your inner peak downs, just to improve the stability on the top. And down here, we're going to check what is the way down. Okay, it's this one. So in that case, I'm actually going to put 2 walls. This is the way up. So in that case, I'm also going to put 2 walls like this. You could put the hard side facing inwards if you're afraid of getting raided from the top. Center, we put door frames, and basically the rest we fill up with door frames, just for that extra stability up here. But you can still not place these, and the reason why is because we still need more stability. So what you can do to fix that is putting or double door frames in the corners like this. So we do that on each side. Make sure they clip to the right corners like that, and like that. After putting those necessary double door frames on the sides, we can put the squares and the triangles. Now in this case, I'm going to be connecting them to the center part right here, just because that double door frame is standing there. We cannot put the triangle there. We have to put it like this. It does look nice from the top, and it looks basically centered from the top now. So just to make sure that your inner peak downs are now secured, now that we place the roofs, we can, or the ceilings, we can place these roofs. And you want to put them like this. And the main reason they are there is that people cannot go down there. They cannot get down there through the roofs. The shooting floor should still be super secured, of course. Make sure that all the embrasures are placed and stuff like this. At this point, you should consider what do you want on the top. I like to have place for the minicopters, so I'm gonna basically be building a pretty big ring around. And I'm gonna use, once again, the single, I call them single windows, but not the shop fronts, but the windows, because again, you can protect your base a lot better. And just to make this easy, Gonna put that because of stability again. Just to make this a lot more secured, we can put a room like that. Frames, frames, frames. And the way up as well. Ladder hatch. Door. Frame, roof. So basically 2 ladder hatches. It's optional though. Connect this back again to the center because we're following the bottom now. And this one I'm not able to place, but that's fine. We just put frames right here and here. Maybe we're still not able to place them. Maybe we are. We are. Good. So one thing I like to do here is to remind myself and my team that this is not really the place to park the alleys. I like to put 2 metal double doors on these sides and put the garage doors on these sides as there's more space here on the inside. Now that's basically the finished product. I haven't really placed the doors yet. I haven't placed the embrasures yet. I haven't really built the shooting floor yet. I'm not going to be doing that because I want you guys to understand that there's supposed to be a door here. There's supposed to be a embrasure here. It makes sense. One thing that I am gonna do though is fully finish the shooting floor actually, because it can be quite confusing to build up. Do not hesitate to build walls like this. They could barely shoot over, but they cannot get over it for sure. So it doesn't really matter if you're doing so. So just to secure the way down now, I'm gonna put these, and again with the same tactic as on the beginning, on the way below as well, so the raiders basically don't really know what your way down or up is. I'd like to do it like this. Put roofs in there, or ceilings again, just so we can put turrets there. Very nice sneaky spot to put the turrets at. And now you can actually put the frames there, but you couldn't before. So make sure you do it in this order, because multi-TCing stuff and frames, they are a bitch. You can see I can put a frame here, even though it's like doesn't make sense. So for this part right here, I want to use metal double doors. And the reason why is I will show you guys in a second. This is actually a very important thing to do. Make sure they're facing outwards like this. And the rest we seal off with garage doors. Right, so why a double door there and why not a garage door? The reason is that if you were to open this door, raiders cannot go through if you die. And if you put a garage door, they can. It's a very sneaky spot to peek, and I like to use metal double doors or single doors on positions of the base. Not because it's necessarily stronger, but it allows you to quickly open the door. And if you have a garage door, it's gonna open, close. Alright, so for the rest here, you should notice that you cannot put frames here. You cannot put them there either. That's totally fine. Although, I do like to have some kind of like electricity rooms here. So you could basically wall that off maybe. Wall this one off. Just see where you can put walls and where not. So one final part that I like to do is also have bedrooms downstairs. Now this is actually inspired from my friend H-June. Although I do have to say that I'm a very big fan of always having multiple bedrooms. I think he's like the first big YouTuber that I see that mentioning it. So I think it's worth to mention him. And it's just really, really overpowered. The more bedrooms you have, the better. And one thing that I've learned in my experience in Rust is if you're getting online rated, if you're building base like this, that's made to be online rated and defended online, you can never have enough beds. And one thing that you should know is if you're getting raided, there's a high chance that you cannot access your main loot. So make sure that your loot is spread in every single bedroom. Now on top of here, you could put turrets. You could also honeycomb it up. It's actually quite strong to do so. But raiders, if they know the base, they would basically go always right there. Good thing is that the inner peak downs are not connected to this wall right there, so they will not break. There will be a gap here, and the turrets right there will basically secure that. One thing that I like to do up here is also put turrets. Obviously, it's very, very strong, both on your doorways. So yeah, as a final part of this video, I would like to invite you guys to build this. And if you do build it, use your own imagination and use your own knowledge to finish this thing up. Again, the bedrooms and a lot of things are purely custom. I'm not going to tell you how to put furnaces. I'm not going to tell you how to put boxes. I'm going to leave that entirely up to you. I have tried to put large furnaces here. It's not possible. I have tried to modify the base so they can, but I feel like the base becomes a lot more expensive if you do so. It is a very nice place to put refineries. Can also put turrets here if you attach, for example, a triangle there. Could also be nice, but use your own imagination. Alright everyone, that's it for today. Now, I know this video was quite long and I hope you appreciate that I put the timestamps of particular parts of the build in the description. Now, I would also like to know your further feedback on this base. Would you build this? Have you built this already? And make sure to let me know in the comments. I really hope you guys like this new 3x3 disguised variant. And also, if you are not familiar with the V1 version of this base, make sure to check that out. I'll be linking that in the description. If you like the video, make sure to like it. If you like the content, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more. There's a lot more exciting stuff coming, a lot more build videos, a lot more gameplay videos, and I really can't wait to share that all with you guys. Take care for now and hope to see you guys in the next one. Cheers!